And could I ask you on that subject of stillness, because I understand from reading your book that you use mantras. So how do you feel what is the effectiveness of using a mantra within a meditation?
Well, when I first started, I used all sorts of things, really, and I started off as mantras, and I sometimes still do. It depends really on the mood, how I feel. Basically, what it is, whatever you focus on, is basically telling your brain to stop talking, and the most effective way of looking at meditation is to tell your brain, instead of chattering, you are telling your thoughts, you're giving your thoughts instructions to focus on stillness or focus on the mantra or whatever you decide to focus on. And that is a key thing, because you're creating a habit. So it's like training a dog. You say to a dog, sit, and the dog wanders off, and you sit. You say sit, and the dog gradually sits, and it becomes a habitual response. So in the end, when you do that long enough, you say stillness, or being or love or whatever you choose to say. You just create a connection to the stillness in some way, and your mind behaves like a dog. It is still, and you are able then to focus on the root energy which is around you, which is basically all it is stillness. And when you achieve stillness, you become an observer. You're observing the world from stillness, and it becomes a very unattached or detached thing where you participate very intensively and intimately with the things that are going on. You're not separating yourself, because you automatically recognize that there's stillness in the objects you observe or the people you interact with. So if, for example, when I talk to you, I'm talking to stillness rather than Todd. So I won't. So if he applied this in daily life, and let's say we have a road rage, or somebody is trying to cut us up and things, instead of getting out of the car and murdering them, we could just simply see these people. They're just stillness behind, addressing the stillness behind the person rather than the person in their sort of rage or whatever happens, and that immediately puts us into a stillness mindset, and that's a discipline of yoga and meditation. It gives us the tools to act from a position of stillness, and that's a crap.
Fantastic. Very profound insights there, Jurgen. Much appreciated. I was thinking now if we could sort of move into sort of these higher states of consciousness. I think people, a lot of times, when looking on the internet, they find far too many references to sort of these intermediate environments just beyond the physical level, where people talk about some of sort of these what religion might call purgatory states or hellish sort of environments. And I think it would be quite nice to sort of maybe focus on some of the higher dimensional levels where we can actually see the real beauty of consciousness on that deeper level.
Yes.
Do you want to sort of...
Yes, absolutely, because first of all, we have to accept that people living on this physical planet, they're very physically orientated. The main reason we are here is to fulfill our needs of survival, our bodily desires and things like that. So everything we do is physical, and we carry this behavior pattern over into our dreams. So we're still in our dreams, which is actually an aspect of the non-physical reality which is accessed when we have out-of-body experience. We still carry on the struggle, and the first environment we encounter is basically a copy of the physical world with all its struggles. And even the people who have died and still carry on their old habits, they're still finding themselves to be taxi drivers and whatever their position was before, and the world they're surrounding themselves is very much the copy they inhabited before. And this is very sad, because it's only when you focus in life on more subliminal aspects like love and charity, these positive aspects which consider your fellow human being, your fellow creature, that you are in a position of giving, that your environment on the next level will be appropriately changed. So we can say that on this level we have got different levels of consciousness. For example, if you are depressed and you go and somebody takes you to watch a sunset, instead of seeing the beautiful sunset, all you see is the grey clouds in front of the sunset and the darkness that is creeping in. You don't see the beauty. And it's exactly like that. If we focus on the beautiful aspects of it, we take this into the next level of consciousness. So once we, let's say after we die, for each level of consciousness there's an appropriate parallel universe. So if you are living in a consciousness of aesthetic beauty and charity, or these positive aspects towards your fellow human being, then you are in an equivalent environment, and the environment is very likely to be one of, like today, sunshine, a beautiful, everything is green, grass, flowers, all the beauty of nature will be in abundance there, and we have much greater freedom to explore it and establish it. Now that is, I divided in my book into 3 levels. One is the lower dimensional level, the medium dimensional level, which is what I just mentioned, and then the higher dimensional level, which is even a stage further, where we are so far beyond our human needs, our physical needs, that we moved into an area of regarding ourselves much more as part of creation, of a process of unity. And these are the higher dimensional levels, and the environment will have again totally changed. We are much more in charge of how our environment looks. The beauty will be tenfold of what it was before, is unimaginable. And people who get into this state of mind or into this world for the first time, they think, yes, this is heaven. That's probably the closest to heaven they can ever get.
So in a sense, you can, I guess, when in these environments, these higher sort of states of consciousness, you can, I guess, understand why maybe some of the religious avatars of the past have sort of perceived these sort of environments as like a permanent sort of place of eternity where we reside in these heavenly sort of ultimate sort of state.
Yes, but the interesting thing is it's still an illusion, because we find even in these highest states of consciousness, in these higher levels, it's still a made-up world. It's still a world which is part of what we imagine. It's still, in a way, if you like, although it feels more real than what we can ever experience on this physical level. There's a feeling of we reach a much greater level of reality, and it is understandable. A lot of people properly think that the life on earth which they led and they left behind was just a dream, a dim dream, and this is a real life now they're leading, and that's a very interesting concept. But there are still higher levels of consciousness, and these are the things which we mentioned earlier, which are the root energy, which is underlying everything, and which makes creation possible, the creative possible.
So, in a sense, the rabbit hole of consciousness goes pretty deep.
Yes, it does. Yes.
And I really, along with you, I subscribe to this idea of all these reality systems as being illusional, and I find it quite interesting that science. I think a lot of people have this sort of sense that science is stuck in the past, but with things like quantum physics, particle physics, where you have these scientists almost lining up to suggest that reality seems very holographic, and that we, in a sense, are illusions being projected from a sort of an event horizon point at the far edge of the physical universe. So not too dissimilar from what we're sort of talking about. And I think as perhaps science starts to, to be able to delve even deeper, down into the structure of reality, perhaps they'll start to sort of change that focus inwardly, instead of seeing it as that sort of physical related consciousness being related to the physical.
Yes, I think the problem, the thing scientists discover more and more every time they do another experiment, there's an even greater wow factor that's descending upon them.